Hello. How are we doing, team? Oh, what a Tuesday. Welcome to this Captivate live stream here on the YouTube, where I'm just going to set up AMIE on my Star Wars podcast with Gaz. And, I run a Star Wars podcast with Gaz, and we've got a bit of pre-roll to insert. We've got a bit of mid-roll to insert. We've got a bit of all sorts to insert, really. In fact, I'm just going to put this document here over on my other screen. But we've got a lot going on. Today, AMIE is live. It's in the wild, and we've already had over 1,000 episodes processed using AMIE in the very short few hours that it has been live. That's over 1,000 podcast episodes now benefiting from dynamic ad and content insertion using Captivate, which is fascinating. It's fascinating, all right? So the agenda for today is pretty simple. I mean, if I'm completely honest, this is something that I was just going to do myself anyway. Like I was going to do it for the Spark of Rebellion podcast. And I thought I'd just live stream it. So it's much less structured than the usual stuff we do. I've got my little dog down here, Norm, that you might see walking around. He might bark because it's a pain in the neck sometimes. But this is just a very informal session, all right? It's not intended to be a very polished webinar. It's not intended to be anything other than just, you joining me as I'm doing a little bit of work. But of course, I'll answer any questions regarding dynamic ad insertion, regarding Captivate, regarding dynamic content, and so on and so forth. So I'm going to share my screen in just a second. I've got it prepped. I've got all my files ready, and I'm going to talk you through what I'm going to do. All right. So I'll walk you through that in just a second. But before we do that, of course, let me know in the comments if you do have any questions, and I'll say hello to a few people. We've got the Fear Film Studios online. Good to see you. We've got Leveling Editing. Good to see you. We've got the man Danny Brown. We've got also in pink. We've got the wonderful Chris Isaac. Good to see you all. Chris Biddle. Hello. Mike. A Lush Life. Hello. Good morning to Eric. There we go. We've got David. And we've got one of the two Erics. And Marvel Couture. I like that name. Oh, Happy New Year. The Organic Guru. We've got Ben, Captivate. That's not his name. It's not his name. That's his, probably his title, if anything. We've got Kaif, obviously co-founder, CTO, and half of the looks of Captivate. No more than half, at least. We've got Marilyn. We've got Clara. Good to see you. We've got Phil. We've got Gaz. He's topping up the looks here at Captivate. We've got the man Nathan, good to see you, and so many more. Cousin Vinny, always a pleasure. Hope you are well, sir. Hope you are well indeed. All right. Tarot message. Good to see you. So what's the agenda? 55% when I wear that yellow jumper. Don't know about that. He's got a new mustard jumper that he likes to wear. The Pup Mummy, good to see you from Chicagoland. And finally, Grover, good to see you. So what are we going to do? We are going to basically just add some pre-rolls, a couple of mid-rolls, and we're going to stick a post-roll on Spark of Rebellion. So for any of you that don't know, I'm a bit of a Star Wars geek. Not as much a Star Wars geek as Gary, our head of design, and the person that is responsible for all the fantastic user experience and interface work here at Captivate. You can see we've got a few Star Wars bits behind us. We've got bits of all sorts. What do we got? We've got an X-Wing. We've got, there's a couple of Yodas up there. There's a little Ben Kenobi hut there. We've got a couple of R2. So we're big Star Wars geeks, apart from just being podcast geeks. So it stands to reason that, of course, Gaz and I would run a Star Wars podcast as well. So we run a show called Spark of Rebellion. If you go to sparkofrebellion.com, you'll see that's a Captivate website. We run it on Captivate. We don't use any other tools for it. We don't use anything for the website. It's all Captivate. What's up, Ian? So we use it, and we're 132 episodes in to Spark of Rebellion, which is pretty cool. We're 132 episodes in. It's a hobby podcast. Frankly, we're a little bit lazy. We don't do any marketing on it. We don't do anything. It's just for a bit of fun on a Saturday morning, all right? And we just love doing it. May the force be with you too. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to upload, and I'm going to set Spark of Rebellion up with a pre-roll, which is going to run into the future. So it will be a pre-roll from today for all of the future episodes, and also a pre-roll that will run for all of the past episodes as well. And I'm going to do I'm also going to put a couple of mid-rolls in using the bulk editor, just to a couple of places in a couple of the episodes. And then what I'm going to do is we did, I don't know if you saw it, but last week there was a big Disney Plus day out there in the world. Disney Plus did like a bit of an exhibition day. They do it every single year. Well, I say every year, like they did it last year and this year. What's up, Eva? So we've got a big sort of sizzle reel that came out for a new TV show, the Obi-Wan Kenobi TV show, and we said inside our audio last week that we'd probably get a trailer as well. Well, we didn't. We didn't get a bleep trailer. We couldn't believe it, so we were a little bit shocked that we didn't get a trailer. So today we recorded a reaction to not getting a trailer, and what I'm going to do using AMIE, I'm going to add that as a sort of Marvel-esque post-credit scene at the end of last week's episode, and then I'm going to add a pre-roll. So at the beginning of the episode, telling people to listen to the end because there's a bit of a secret post-credit scene. So I'm going to use AMIE to do all that stuff. So I've got 4 files that I'm going to upload to AMIE, and I'm going to show you how I'm going to do it. I'm going to get that all set up, and we can rock and roll through it. There we go. There we go. Evo, it does take me a solid 4 minutes to get started. I like to say hello to people, and I like to call that my pre-roll, as you well know. It's part of the English bant, I think. A lot of people used to call it English charm until they not got to know me a little better. Now we just chalk it up as banter. All right, team. All right, let's do this. What we are going to do. Thank you, Matthew Passy. Good to see you, sir. The man himself. Thank you so much. The man behind Cause Pod is doing great work for other people that are doing great work with podcasts. What's up, TJ? All right, so I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Let me just bring up the relevant window that I need to work on. Bring up my files. So, like I said, this is a work session, all right? This is not a webinar. This is just me doing work and sort of talking you through it. So it's a little different to the normal stuff that we would do, but I wanted to run it. So you'll see I've got Spark of Rebellion here up on my screen. This is the podcast that we've got. It's a normal podcast using Captivate. You can see we've got all the episodes all there. This is the latest episode that we did, episode 132. That was last Saturday. And then we've got the range of, the range of podcast episodes that we've done. You'll see that we've got the AMIE status right here. You'll see that we've got the bulk editor right here. Like AMIE's in play, all right? So if I go and edit this Obi-Wan Kenobi sizzle reel, it's a fancy phrase, isn't it? Sizzle reel. You'll see that obviously it's a normal episode. Everything is set up as you would expect it. But we've now got the AMIE section here, and we've not got any ads. I've not got any ads set up. I've not got any regions painted. I've not got any slots painted. Inserted. I've not got a post roll in play. I don't have a pre-roll in play. Like, this is a green episode, all right? It's a fresh episode. And you'll see that if I go to the bulk editor, like, there's nothing here. I've not got anything, all right? AMIE's fresh, all right? There's literally nothing on it. I don't have anything. It's just AMIE's fresh on this. Okay, there's nothing there. We're not using anything as yet. But we're going to go ahead and we're going to set that up. All right. So what I'm going to do, if you've been following Captivate for a while, and if you've been using Captivate for a while, we've got this content library which we've just upgraded this week. So this is actually another sort of mini update that's come out. We've got some updated tutorials on this. We've got a YouTube video on this as well that's live. So we've now got what we are calling this unified content library. And you might be thinking, well, Marco, that sounds silly. What's going on with that then? Well, the idea is that we had, if you watched the announcement for AMIE, what you'll notice is that we actually had 2 content libraries. We had the original sort of audio episodes, PDFs, file content library that you could use for everything. Excuse me. And then we had the AMIE content library. And because we know what's coming up, we know we've got like audio bites coming up. We've got a few of the bits and bobs that we are going to be launching that are around content and the management of content and sort of the creation of content and insofar as, allowing you to sort of do diverse things with your audio. It became much clearer that by having 2 libraries, it was getting a bit much. We were sort of backing ourselves into a corner. So we scrambled the last 10 days. This is why we did this beta testing or beta testing. I get picked on either way. So I'm just going to stick to the UK. We did the beta testing and we decided to just unify this library. So this content library now actually handles all content essentially. So we've now got this button that Gaz has created. So I can upload my normal episode audio, like if I wanted to upload MP3 files for my episodes in bulk, I could do that. If I wanted to upload like PDF files or images, which I can use in lead magnets or I can use in email marketing, I could do that as well using these other files. And obviously that'd be all tracked. But we've now got the second option here, which is upload dynamic ad content, which is what I'm going to do. So I've got 4 files that I'm going to upload, all right? I've got 2 pre-rolls, a mid-roll, and a post-roll. And we'll talk through what we're going to do with this, all right? So first and foremost, you can't upload AMIE content in bulk, and there's a very good reason for that, and it's because we need other information about the content. So you can't, where you can upload episodes in bulk, what you can't do is upload AMIE content in bulk. Like I said, we need more information. If you think about like a normal MP3 file, you upload it and then you use it in an episode. So that's the information that we need for the episode. It's actually when you create the episode. But for AMIE, we need to know a little bit more a little bit earlier. So we don't allow bulk uploads on AMIE. We will add that in the future, but it's sort of a bit of a it's a user experience nuance that we really want to get right. That's what we major on. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to upload these 4 files once I find them from my file system. So what I'm going to do is I am going to upload a default pre-roll. So I'm going to take this MP3 file. It's the default pre-roll, Q4 2021 pre-roll that Gaz and I have created, which sounds brilliant. I'm going to just call it my default pre-roll, Q4. I'll just put the same name in, actually. We should autofill that, Kieran. Stick that on the mop-up if you don't mind, my lovely. We should autofill that. That'd be nice, wouldn't it? What we should then do is we'll go to type and we're going to go internal ad. So this is an internal ad because it's our own pre-roll. Okay, and then what I'm going to do is I want this pre-roll to do 2 things, all right? So a pre-roll goes at the beginning of the content before any other content, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set this as the default for all of my future episodes. So on Saturday, when Gaz and I publish episode 133, this pre-roll will already be in place. This pre-roll will already be in place, ready to roll, all right? Excuse the pun, ready to go, all right? So I'm going to set that because I want it to be default. But what I also want to do is I want it to be the pre-roll for the 132 previous episodes as well. So I want AMIE, I want Captivate to process all of those 132 files and basically add it to them all. All right, basically add it to them all. So I'm going to go ahead and apply to all previous episodes as well. And what you'll notice is that we allow 3 bulk edits per day. Now, this is really generous. It's rare that you'd need to bulk update something. Like, how often are you going to bulk edit things? Like, it's super rare. So what we do is we limit it to 3 per 24 hours. This resets at midnight local time, local to your show, whatever your time zone is on your show. And what it does is it just stops the AMIE system just kind of getting too busy, all right? It stops people sort of hogging it. It stops people processing like 50 bulk edits just for the laugh. And it just means that things keep the momentum, all right? So I haven't done any bulk edits on this show, so I've got 0 out of 3 bulk edits done. But what I'm going to do is set this as my default pre-roll, and I'm going to apply it to all of my previous episodes as well, all right? So let's go ahead and we'll add that one. And I'm going to click save and add another because I'm going to add some more, all right? So we'll do that. Save and add another. So that's going ahead and AMIE's going through and it's updating. My internet connection is a little sketchy today because I'm obviously doing the streaming as well. What I'm then going to do is I'm going to upload another pre-roll that I'm only going to use for last week's episode. All right. So I'm going to call this pre-roll. Oops, pre-equals roll. Does not. Kyle, that is just to answer the question on the bulk while I'm typing this. If you've got multiple shows, is there a limit per show or per account? It's per show, which is good. And I'm going to call this episode 132. Yeah, we should pre-fill that here, definitely. I'm going to go, again, it's an internal ad, but I'm not going to use it immediately because I don't want it to be the default and I don't want to apply it to all the previous episodes. I just want it uploaded. All right. You'll see that number 1 of 3 bulk edits has been processed, by the way. So that's been clocked. So I don't want to use this pre-roll yet. All right. I'm just going to stick it up on Captivate and leave it there for now. So I'm going to go save and add another. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my mid-roll. So mid-roll is in content. We actually call them at Captivate mid-roll in content ads because, you know, why bother adding jargon for the sake of it? Mid-roll in content. So I'm going to call this mid-roll. I can't type. I would be terrible. Mid-roll Q4 2021. Q45. There is no Q45. And again, that'll be an internal ad. And again, I am not going to use that yet. All right, so just save and add another. Easy. And then the last file that I'm going to upload is the post roll, which is this one. And we're going to go post roll, EP 132. There we go. Now, this is another internal ad, but what I could do here is if I wanted to, I could apply this post roll, and I could apply the post roll for the future and for the previous episodes as well. This post roll I'm using in a pretty creative way. It's not an advert as such. It's not me saying go and follow us on Twitter or, you know, here's the Patreon or, you know, whatever. It's not a post roll ad as such. We're using this as a bit of a post credits piece of content. It's like the Nick Fury showing up in Iron Man. You know, it's the post credits. I don't want to say anymore in case I spoil it for people. You know, if you've not seen other movies that use great post credits, I will say no more because I don't want to ruin any movies for anyone. But I don't want to use this moving forward. I'm just going to use it on one episode, which is last week's. All right. So I'm going to go ahead. I don't want to add any more. This is my last one. So I'm going to go add dynamic content. And Captivate will go ahead and it'll just upload that content. And like I said, my internet's a little slow today just because I'm doing the streaming as well. And it's going to throw it up. This is a slightly bigger file. You are Nick Fury, Danny Brown. Okay. So a couple of things have happened. Okay. Well, a few things have happened. First of all, we're back at the content library, all right, which is pretty cool. You'll notice that all of this content type has been uploaded with the type AMIE. All right. And you'll notice that I've got a range of different buttons. I could delete the AMIE content if I wanted to, but I couldn't delete this AMIE content, this one that I'm trying to highlight here. I couldn't do that because it's already in use as a pre-roll. So AMIE went back and you remember we said set it as the default and then go and apply it to all the previous episodes. Can you remember I did that? Well, now AMIE in the unified content library is saying you can't delete this one, Mark, because it's in use. So, you know, we don't want to make a mess of things. We'd have to detach it from audio. We'd have to take it out of all of our episodes using the bulk editor, dead easy. And if we wanted to delete it, that's how we would be able to do it. These ones I can still do things with because they're not attached yet. I can view the information on them. And I can even edit them if I want to. You know, I can go ahead and just look at, you know, what the situation is, change the name, and so on and so forth. So it's pretty cool. You know, it's dead easy stuff. Now, and if I go to the episodes section here, AMIE's all right. Let's go to the end. It's done them all. Now, there's something that is interesting here. Now, what I want to do is, first and foremost, we've got a trailer. We do not want the pre-roll on the trailer. And there was a bit of feedback that came in through the beta last week, which was, can we tell AMIE to only apply it to things that aren't marked as trailers or marked as bonuses? So that is something that we're going to add in the mop-up phase, like a bit of logic where you can say, right, add the pre-roll to future episodes unless it's a trailer. You know, whatever. We can apply some logic to that. We've not yet applied that. We're going to do that over the next couple of weeks. So I'm going to go ahead and go to this trailer, and I'm going to delete the pre-roll. So I'm going to edit it. And then I'm going to go ahead. And you see we've got this default pre-roll now. We don't have a post-roll because I told it not to. We don't have a mid-roll. And I'm going to remove this pre-roll just from the trailer. And I'm going to update that episode. Everything stays the same. All works. And then AMIE, if I jump back over here, AMIE's now processing itself, all right? It's going through the process of processing, all right? So nice and easy. We should get a processing status. It'll be in the queue right now. When it gets to the processing status, that will change to processing, and we'll start to see that process through. We should probably add a status there of in queue as well, but it's a little, there's always like a little bit of subtlety with customer support with that. You sort of don't want to, what am I trying to say with this? Sometimes you can give people too much information that worries them. So if we were to put like a red in queue there, it would raise theoretically a fair chunk of support, because people would say, well, what's going on? You know, what's the situation? So we chose to just say, well, look, actually, this is still published until it's processed, and then it gets updated with this new version. So a published episode never comes down. It just remains up and then just gets switched on the fly when it's processed. So it's a really, really robust system. Okay. So what have we got there? So we've got our default pre-roll. We've got our default post-roll. All right. We've got that up and running. Let's just have a look what else I need to do over here. So if I now look at the bulk ad editor, what you'll see here is that if I wanted to, I don't want to, but if I wanted to, I could en masse replace a pre and post roll here. I could easily do that. I could replace a pre and post roll, choose from the list, and bulk process them. I am not going to do that. And look, you've got the bulk editor options there as well. I'm not going to do that. I don't want to do it, but I just wanted to give you the heads up. I'm going to use the bulk slot manager in just 1 second. I'm going to do this with a mid-roll. What I'm not going to do today, I'm going to do a separate session on this, is I'm not going to use the ad painter. All right. So this, just a bit of a recap on this one. I just don't need to use it today. Okay. I could have created some fake audio, but there's absolutely no point. You know, I wanted to show you this. This is me, like I said, this is me working. And you just, you know, you'd happen to be sat here working with me. So I didn't want to fake it. I didn't want to make it up. But if I wanted to, I could select regions of audio to replace. You know, I could replace a full region. Nice and easy. Okay. I can replace as many regions as I want. You know, I can add them on mass. I can do bulk replacing. So I could add regions in as many episodes as I wanted, replace them with one ad file or one content file, and that would be that. Now, a quick question that's just come in from Phil Bowyer. Can you mass delete an ad without having to go through the process? Yeah, absolutely. So there's a couple of ways that you can do that, Phil. So yeah, you could select as many of these as you want, and you could go right to the bottom. Have we not got pagination there? That's weird. We should have pagination there. So that might be a refresh on my side. And then we've got remove ads just there. And I can just go ahead and I can say remove pre or post. Actually, we shouldn't have pagination, because it would make it it would make it worse user experience to have pagination there. That makes sense. So, okay, pre and post roll, I can remove them from any episode that I've selected, and it will just go through and remove them, Phil. What I could also do is I could go ahead and I could select all. I can replace the episode pre and post roll. I could do the same if you've got like mid rolls as well. Yeah, that's what I was thinking on that one, Evo. Same thing. It does it interferes with select all. Theoretically, we could get around it, but I feel like it would cause more confusion. I agree. So what I could do is I could come through. If I had slots here, which I'm going to do in a second, I could also bulk delete these as well. You know, I could sort of go through and wipe them out. I've got another question from Mike. Mike Forrester. So Q1 22 pre-roll will be updated through that process en masse. Yes, it would. Yeah, that's the point of like these bulk editors, because you don't want to go through episode by episode by episode by episode. You know, that would be pointless. So yes, anything that's bulk, you can do en masse. Absolutely. Which is pretty darn cool. All right. So we've got our episodes, okay? And in these two episodes, I've got a mid-roll that I want to add. And a mid-roll, like I said, is just in-content advertisement. So Gaz has recorded in his sexy radio voice, he's recorded a little advert, all right? And I've gone through, I did a little bit of pre-work on this, and I went through and just found the timestamps that I want to add these to. So what I'm going to do is I want to add a mid-roll to these two episodes, but I only want to do it in one place. So I don't want to be like editing this one and then edit this one. I could come into the episode here, and I could just go ahead and say, right, stick me an ad slot there, insert the new slot, off you go. And then I'd just process it, and I could do the same thing with the other episode. But I don't want to do that. That's a little crazy. That's sort of too much, all right? So instead, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add it to these 2 episodes. So I'm going to, just to be clear what I'm doing, I'm inserting a brand new ad slot. Okay, nice and easy. Insert a brand new ad slot. And the curious girl, I'll get to that question in a second. So what we can do, because it'll all become clear for you here, Curious Girl Diaries. So I've got a mid-roll here, and I know that on this episode 132, I want to go to 24 minutes, 28 seconds. So I can preview this. You should hear the audio of this. I think StreamYard is sharing my audio as well.
Hello there.
Hello there. I just feel like answering. Just preview my episode. Can zoom in. Works.
Yeah, I love
Jump
that.
ahead.
Yeah. Anyway, so I don't want to do that again.
So what I'm going to do is I know that where I want to replace this, it's about 24 minutes, 28 seconds. All right. So I'm going to zoom in. About 24 minutes, 28, which is, I can go as deep in as I want on this one. And this now respects milliseconds. And I actually want, you see this gap in the audio there, that's where I want to put this. See that little gap there? That's exactly where I want to put this. That took some finding. But that's where I want to put it, all right? In the next episode, this Book of Boba Fett one.
Hello there.
I want to insert the same advert, but actually I want to put it at 11:08 according to my notes. Well done, Mark, on making notes. So I'm going to stick it 11:08, all right? I'm going to zoom in just a touch more. Where are we? I've got to get pretty tight on this one. All right. 1 second. So I'm going to go 11:08. So let me just keep zooming in. Let's go a bit tighter. I've gone in really tight there, but that's all right. 11:08. So you can see you can see how the increments here just become much more kind of usable. You know, the closer you zoom in, the better these increments are to work with. Like these are now at second level. But obviously we target milliseconds, which is pretty cool. So 11:08, we're nearly there. 11:08, 11:08, 11:08. All right. So 11:05 is there. 11:10 is there. And you see that gap. You see how it's not sticking itself to the second. I know it's 11:08, but actually I can probably get a bit more accurate using these milliseconds here. And what I want to do is, so I've got these two markers identified. I can probably dig in a little bit closer on this one, if I'm completely honest. I can probably go a little bit deeper on this if I truly want to. Wild, is Captivate going to be providing dynamic ad content? Yes. If you've seen any of the other content about AMIE, then you'll have heard that yes, dynamic ad partnerships, you know, a worldwide ad marketplace is launching around Q1. We've got a couple of things that might affect that in a good way yeah, we're going to be working on. But yes, Q1 we will be providing vast enabled ad partnerships and obviously full ad marketplace and so on and so forth. So yes, and all using this badass interface. Right, so I've got these 2 slots now. And remember, I want to insert that mid-roll. So I want to insert it once. I'm going to go select add file. And I'm going to go ahead and choose mid-roll Q4 2021. I can change the name if I want. And I'll call it, you know, Gaz, because it's Gaz's voice. And we'll do that. And then I'm just going to go add. You see what's happened there? It's added those ad slots there for me. So just back to that question. I thought, was it Mike or was it Phil that asked? I could easily just delete them. I could just bulk choose them. I could replace the ad. Oh, you know, if I think, oh, no way, I've chosen the wrong blooming file, I can replace the ad. Super simple. It's fine. I just grab it. Or I could delete the ad. I could do whatever I want. All right. So you can see this. It's a true bulk editor. It works really, really well. Okay. Then when I save and process this, Captivate it will add that audio. All right. Am I sure that I want to make these changes? Yes. See how it's processing. So the queue, there's nothing now in the queue. It's now processing, which is pretty cool. If I was to go back to bulk editor, what you'll see is I've now used 2 of my 3 bulk edits, you know, because I edited en masse. So that's inserted the mid-roll. So that's kind of, you know, that's the next task completed, and it will process and off we go. Now, to answer the Curious Girl Diaries question, if you've got baked in ads, yeah, you can do the same thing. So, you know, you would find the audio that you want to replace, and you can zoom in as tight as you want. So if I wanted to replace, you know, from 15 seconds to 25 or from 20 to 30, what I could do is just choose that slot, get really accurate with it, zoom in as much as I want. Do the same on here. Do it as many times as I want. And then just literally go through the same process of editing a mid-roll, choosing a file, uploading a mid-roll. And you can replace it with any content you want. It doesn't have to be an ad. It can be anything, all right? Any content that you upload. So yes, that would be how you would do that. You can do that in bulk, or if I come to the episode section here, the interface is exactly the same. So if I come back to this Obi-Wan Kenobi sizzle reel, you'll see that the AMIE section in this is actually now starting to build up really nicely, because we've got a pre-roll and we've got that ad slot that I added in bulk. But I could also, if I wanted to, I could paint here as well. All right. I could paint. TJ, can we listen back as we edit to double check? Yeah. So what you can do with this one, dude, this is a really good question. I will do this, but I'm not going to save it. All right. So what I could do is I can do this in bulk, remember, or I can do it on an individual episode basis. I can insert slots, or I can paint over regions and replace with content, either. So if I do this, you see that that button changes. Like if I select just a place to insert, you see it says there, add new slot. But if I paint, it changes to replace baked in advert. So what I could do, TJ, is I could replace, let's assume, I am not going to save this, don't worry, guys. But I could just go mid-roll Q4. I could change that to TJ's new content, save it to that. And what you can do is, dude, you can listen to the audio that you are inserting. So this is the mid-roll.
Hello there. Come and get involved in the community over on our social channels.
And I can also listen to the original content to make sure that I've really nailed it. Like I said, this is millisecond accurate. All right. In fact, it's beyond that. But if I go original content, I can then listen to what the original content was. Like that, everything is going up. But yeah, it's expensive. I fancy doing the old. Okay, so you can get really granular with it, and you can really proof it. You can really check it. You can make sure that it's working. Make sure that you've really dialed in as close as you want. All right, so that works really, really well. I am going to cancel that because I don't want to do anything with that one. Okay, now we've got to, we've done some bulk editing. We've uploaded some defaults. We've got our default pre and post rolling. But what I want to do, remember, right at the beginning, I said that we did a post credits stinger on this episode 132. All right. So what I did was with Gaz, earlier, we recorded a post credits like bit of content. So it's not an ad. It's just like a bit more content. We thought there was going to be a trailer for the Obi-Wan Kenobi show. There wasn't. We went back afterwards and added a post-credits, or we recorded a post-credits stinger that was like, oh, I can't believe there wasn't one. And we added, 5 minutes of content to it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take episode 132 here, and I'm going to do two things. I'm going to add a new pre-roll. So I'm going to replace the pre-roll that's the default with a new pre-roll that tells people the same stuff, but that also includes a little bit of wording to say, by the way, stick around until after the episode. All right. So that's the pre-roll. I'm going to change it. And then I'm going to add a post-roll. I'm going to add our post-credit stinger to the end. So first of all, let's preview these files and then we'll come back and do it. All right. So I'm going to go to Content Library, and you should be hearing my audio. Now look what's gone on here. You know that mid-roll that I used? AMIE and Captivate are telling me that I'm using this in content. It's brilliant. It works really well. All right. Honestly, I'm so proud of this system and the team that have built it. Honestly, it's so good. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to preview this pre-roll.
Hey, Star Wars fans, it's Gary here from Spark of Rebellion, and we would love for you to listen to all of our brand new episodes when they land every single Saturday. Make sure you follow us on your podcast app of choice, or pop over to sparkofrebellion.com/listen. If you like the show and you want to support us, you can do that via our Patreon. Just head over to sparkofrebellion.com/Patreon and come and join our other Patreons. And thank you so much for your continued support. Oh, and make sure you stick around until the very end of the show this week as we give you an update on that sneaky little Obi-Wan Kenobi sizzle reel that was there and then it wasn't. Now, may the Force be with you, and on to this week's Spark of Rebellion.
All right, so that's the pre-roll. The post-roll is just genuine content, all right? It's just 5 minutes of content that we recorded, so listen up. I'll not play it all, obviously. And welcome back to the post-credits, the top secret post-credits scene that I hope you stayed right until the end for this. All right, so you can see what we're trying to achieve with that, all right? So I'm going to come back to my episode here, and I'm going to go episode 132, which is the one that we want to sort out, and I'm going to go ahead and just click Edit. The same screen that you've seen before, right? This is already 1 hour, 4 minutes long, all right? And what I'm going to do is I'm going to come down to the AMIE section, and I'm going to do two things, all right? So I'm going to leave the mid-roll alone. I don't want to do anything with this one. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to replace the default pre-roll. You can see this is marked as default, all right? I'm going to replace it, and I'm going to add the post-roll content. So I'm going to click Replace, and I'm going to go the pre-roll EP 132. Notice that you can't add this one back by mistake because it's not in the list. We apply logic to say, well, wait a sec, you can't replace with the same thing, all right? So pre-roll episode 132. That's the new pre-roll. I could also remove it if I wanted to. I obviously clearly don't want to. And then I'm going to add the post-roll as well. So I'm going to go ahead, click Add Post-Roll, and I'm going to choose the post-roll for episode 132, which is that 5 minutes, 10 seconds of extra content. And so what you can see that visually, as Gaz has designed this and as we've put this together, we work how our brains work, all right? We have the pre-roll, then we've got the mid-roll and the post-roll. It's not like we're going pre, then post, and then mid-roll. Like, we work in a linear fashion. Our brains work like that when we're thinking about audio in these waveform formats, which is why we always kind of work top to bottom and left to right, because it's obviously that's where that's the majority of our market is US, UK, Australia, Canada. So it's left to right countries, you know. So we work like that, top to bottom, left to right, okay? So I've added the pre-roll, I've replaced the pre-roll, and I've also added the post-roll. Okay, so if I go ahead, update the episode, and it's again processing the content, and that will be completed. Now, you know, we'll see. Obviously, everything is as you'd expect it. There's nothing untoward. We've got, you know, all the mid-rolls stay in place. Everything gets processed. Everything is there. Okay, now what I can do is if I come back to the episode section, let's see if it's processed yet. It's still processing. So there'll be a few in the queue before. That's all right. It's pretty quick. It'll take a minute or two just to process. And what we can do is we can listen back to that and just make sure, you know, I can fire up the player in another tab or whatever. I can listen back to that. There's no real need to do that. But it will just have added the pre-roll, the post-roll, and the mid-roll. So if I go back and it's completed, you'll see that completed itself. And you'll see that everything is there. All right. Everything is there. So if I go back to, if I go to sparkofrebellion.com and I just load up the site.
Hey, Star Wars fans, it's Gary here from Spark of Rebellion, and we would love for you to listen to all of our brand new episodes when they land every single Saturday.
And then on this episode, it should be the other pre-roll.
Hey, Star Wars fans, it's Gary here from...
And so on. So you can see it works really, really easily. It just works. It just works. It's really, really powerful. All right. So that's AMIE set up on Spark of Rebellion. I could do a little bit of ad painting, but there's no real need to. You know, I have no use of the ad painter today. I'm going to be doing it on my podcast Accelerator show, but I have no need of it today with Spark of Rebellion. All right. So it's a slightly different hobby style podcast. The ad painter is so useful. All right. It's really, really useful. So I'll take a few questions. We'll go through some of the content. Yeah, Dan, it is, you know, what's interesting about this dude. So Dan Ocock, who I'm speaking to tomorrow, regarding branding for podcasting, doing a bit of an interview with Dan tomorrow, I think it is. So it's really, really cool stuff, dude, because what a lot of people, considering using it for, and you know, we will obviously give the opportunity to chain pre-roll and chain post-roll in the future, so it won't just be one pre-roll. You'll be able to have 2 or 3. So what that means you can do, dude, is you can, your intro could just be a pre-roll. You know, there's no reason for it not to be. If you want to, if you then just want to keep changing that around, there's no reason for it not to be a pre-roll. Okay, so there's loads of opportunity with this. You're very welcome, Curious Girl Diaries. What else we got? Mike Forrester. Well, it depends. I mean, so this is like one of the most frustrating pieces of podcasting. Like, anyone that's subscribed to your RSS feed will get this fairly straight away. All right. Anyone that's subscribed in the apps, there's always the difference between the search results in the apps. You know, they can take as long as 24 hours, sometimes a bit longer with Apple. So you never really need to worry about that. Those that are subscribed always get the latest episode. Spotify is really quick, and anyone that's subscribed via Apple will get the latest episode. So it's reasonably quick. It's just we can't, frankly, man, we can't control that, which is frustrating. Kyle, so what we do is we track impressions, we track use, we track the history of the slots. We've got all that tracking in the back end, all right? We've just got to put a UI around it and do the same. There's a few other bits of like analytics that we're going to be adding as well as part of an upcoming upgrade. So we track everything, obviously. We track all the users. We track the slot history. We track everything, all right? So that'll be coming in the analytics phase. One from Natalie. I'm a bit late, so apologies if I've mentioned this. I'm soon to launch my archive on Captivate, so it means if there's a spawn track, it could be added later. Yeah. You can sell your past episodes as an extra benefit to your sponsor. Yeah, definitely. Perfect. So Kyle, can you schedule ad changes? No, you can't yet, but you can. So if you've looked, you might not have seen it, but when we did the reveal event and then some of the subsequent content, the thing that will be launching along with the ad marketplace and along with the actual dynamic ads from like brands and companies and all that sort of stuff, like the paid for ads that people pay you for. When we launch that in Q1, that will be coming with a campaign manager. So obviously you need a campaign manager for that sort of stuff. So we'll be adding the campaign manager to your own content as well. So you'll be able to schedule changes, be able to chain pre-rolls, be able to chain post-rolls. You'll be able to do all sorts of different things with that, all right? So that is coming in Q1, which is pretty badass. Going to start adding pre-rolls and play around my podcast. Good. That's pretty cool. I'm looking forward to seeing what you do with that. What else have we got? Any more questions? Let's have a quick look on the... All right, okay. A couple of questions then. So Curious Girl Diaries, we've done that one, which is pretty cool. And then the Organic Guru, if you insert an ad, does the break have to be as long as the ad, or does it pause the podcast? Also, can we put multiple ads in a break? Your ads can be completely different lengths. What we do is we take a space in the audio, and whatever the new thing is, it fits. All right. You can have a minute, you can have 30 seconds, you can have 10 minutes. Doesn't matter. The episode just is stitched up. All right. We split it, insert it, and stitch it. Can you have multiple ad slots next to each other? Yeah, of course you can. And again, we will be allowing much more simple chaining. So if you insert an ad slot, rather than having to say, I want to insert another one, what you'll be able to do with the Q1 release is say, right, in this ad slot, insert 2 ads, one after the other. So you don't have to go insert a slot and then right next to it, insert another one. You'll be able to say, right, I want 3 what they call ad opportunities in this, where I set this marker, and then after that, carry on with the content. So this is all part of the campaign manager as well. But yeah, you can do that now. That's no problem. Nice and easy to do that. You can pretty much do everything that you need to do regarding that one. And remember, the ads can be as long as they want. They don't have to, they can be as long as they want. The episode gets split, the ads get inserted, and we stitch it back up. Okay, so that's how it works. All right. Oh no, thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Yeah, you could. I was talking to Gaz about this earlier, Evo. So yes, theoretically you could, but we aren't leaning into full editing right now because it would raise too much support and it would raise a lot of mastering questions and so on and so forth. So we're not leaning into that right now. But yeah, if you wanted to remove a baked-in ad, you could theoretically replace it with a 0.1 second audio file if you really wanted to. That's no problem whatsoever. It would work. But we aren't leaning into saying skip over this audio. That's just not. It's not an editing feature that we want to get into right now. It's not to say we won't do, because the interface is there. But yes, you could do that if you wanted to. You would have to get creative. Just upload a 1 second ad, and if you go 1 second blank bit of audio, if you wanted to hack around that for now. Question: would it be best to leave a 1 second dead air before and after the speaking? Yeah, I mean, that always works. So this is. It's something that Gaz and I found earlier, is that I think when you know that you're going to start inserting ads, I think you get a bit more creative with the where you're going to do that. So what I mean is that, like, when Gaz and I record Spark Rebellion this week, what we will do is that at some point during the episode, we will go ahead and we will say, all right, I'm just going to tell you about this thing. And we'll leave like a second where we can insert the mid-roll. All right. So we'll physically prepare to do that. These 2 episodes that I've just done, we didn't do that. So I was like finding a bit of dead air and I was just inserting it there. So yeah, I think when you understand that you're going to be working with ads in your content, you become a little bit more mindful as you're mindful of it as you're recording it. So yeah, it's always wise to do that. All right. Don't leave too much because it will stitch it. So you don't want like, 3 seconds of dead air, but just be conscious of it. So yeah, that's a great shout. That's a great shout, Mike. Good. I'm glad. All right, Eric. Does a 30-second pre-roll ad count to the time listeners download for IAB rules? Yeah. It's fine. It's the download, man. You download the file. It's all about the byte range requests. Is what Eric's talking about there. So yeah, I mean, it also counts. That's more for like progressive downloading. It's if you download the whole file or whatever, that will count as an IAB download anyway. So yeah, it's rarely a challenge, but yeah, it will do. So there we go. It is, Doc. It is, but probably not by Cypher Diaz. Probably by that bloody Count Dooku pretending it was Cypher Diaz. That guy. I'm sort of trying to get the Dooku beard, dude, with the grayness, but I'll never be that cool. But I have got the hairline for it. Oh, well, that's good, Claire. I'm glad. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I do the same with my audio, like leave a little bit around it. I always do that. All right. So we're going to, I'm going to wrap up in 5 then, because I can't believe that's been 45 minutes of talking. But this has been fantastic. Now, let me know if there's any other questions. I'll be around for 5 more. But we've got a lot more content coming up about AMIE. So we always populate the YouTube channel. But with this one, what I didn't want to do was like launch everything in one go, because there's such an amount to take in. With a lot of features like Captivate features, you can use them instantly. You can switch on guest booking without really any setup. You stick your hours in and off you go. You can use the one-click sponsor kit. You can use the attribution links. You can use so many of the other things very, very instantly. And whilst you can use this right away, you can very, very easily spend time prepping. All right. So like Gaz and I had to record some ads. You've got to do that. You've got to think about where it goes into your content. It's very, very straightforward. So you do have to do a little bit of prep time on this, so I didn't want to put all the content out today. You get overwhelmed and think, I'll do that another day, So instead, we've got the how does AMIE work stuff out today. We've done this live session today. We've got the YouTube stuff out, which is very much like, tutorial based content, like the how to do stuff. But moving further forward, we are going to have more live Q&A sessions, some on the YouTube channel, some in the private Facebook group that's just for Captivate users. We are going to have, we've got a big blog post that's landing shortly, just explaining what dynamic content, what dynamic advertising is, because to a lot of people, it is new. All right. So this is the future, of Captivate. It's the future of podcasting and media. And, this is a very robust platform. It's not simple pre and post roll like a lot of the other hosts are doing, because it ticks a box on a feature list. This is highly thought out. This is highly considered. We didn't take the easy path. We took the right path, the path that will help you genuinely. So it's important that we do that, and we're going to stick to our guns on it. That's what we do. We do things the right way, not the easy way. So let me know what you need. We're around. We're completely around. What else have we got? Yes, Simon. So yeah, just make sure that they match for now. But part of module 3 will be we're not sure how far we're going to go yet with it, but there will be some magic. Is the short answer in the future. We didn't want to do that now because anytime you introduce such a big piece of kit like AMIE, you've got to get one bit done and make sure the support's solid for it, and then you do the next bit. So we always work in these big kind of push the boundary. Let's make sure that we leapfrog what a lot of other people are doing and make sure it's the best in class, but don't do everything, because it would overwhelm us. It would overwhelm you. So yeah, there will be some magic. AMIE is not finished. This is only module 1 of a 3-module rollout. Okay. So yeah, for now, level them, but in the future, we'll cover that. Oh, there we go. It is. Thank you, TJ. That's the goal. Thank you. I appreciate that. And it took years and it's still not out. What's in there, from me and Kieran. It's not just me. I just do the face stuff. Kieran is more of the genius behind Captivate than I am. But it's all in there. All right, it's all in there, and it's took years to get it out. We've had to persist with people hammering us. Why aren't you doing this? Why aren't you doing that? Why aren't you doing this? We've had to be really, really, strict on just the vision, and it's been hard. A lot of sleepless nights. I'll not lie to you. There's a lot of sleepless nights with this. So the fact that now people like you, people that we trust, people that we know, are saying that back to us, that means so much, man. So thank you. There you go, Martin. Good man. Good man. Good man. Good man. Well, remember, you can go and monetize your back catalog as well now. That's fascinating. And thank you, Simon. I desperately appreciate that. Thank you. All right, team. Time for me to, it feels like midnight, because it's dark outside in the UK. It's crazy time. Winter's weird. But thank you so much, honestly, for letting me do this. Thank you for the support. Thank you for the kind words. Thank you for always being present. And thank you for just letting us do our job. This is what we do. We love doing it. And we wouldn't have it any other way. So thank you for being how you are with us. There's lots more to come with Captivate. There's lots more to come with AMIE. Maybe we've got a big surprise release coming up before Christmas for you that isn't even AMIE related. And it's another thing that people are going to be thinking, well, what's going on? Oh, Norman, what's the matter, mate? Good man. He's just protecting. He's protecting. He's a good dog. So we've got one more release, like I said, that's coming up that is might be a little surprise. Okay, that people will be thinking, well, why didn't we do that? All right, so we'll see. Right, I better go see what he's barking at. You all right, mate? You okay? Getting barky? Here he comes. Probably wants his food. It's about tea time. All right, team. Much love. Thank you very much. Look after yourself. Stay safe. And just keep on